Today's topic is the basic overview of the cell. The cell was discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. So how do we define a cell? A cell is the basic unit of life, and some organisms are composed of only one cell. That means they are unicellular in nature. And some, on the other hand, other organisms, including human beings, they are composed of more than one cell. That is, they are multicellular organisms. Later in 1839, Schleiden and Schwann formulated the cell theory and stated all living beings are composed of cells. Cell is a mass of protoplasm which contains nucleus, which is bounded by cell membrane, and in many cases a cell wall is also present, like in case of plants. They also said that all cells are basically alike in structure and metabolic activities. The functioning of an organism as a whole is a result of the activities and interactions of the constituent cells. Later, this concept was improved by Rudolf Virchow in 1855, who stated that all living cells arise from the pre-existing cells, and this concept was then taken in the modern cell theory or the cell principle. As per the modern cell theory or the cell principles, life exists only in the form of cells, and living objects are composed of cells and their products. Cell is a mass of protoplasm which contains nucleus and cell organelles and is bounded by the cell membrane. Cell is also a unit of function, reproduction, and heredity, besides being a unit of structure. And cells always arise from pre-existing cells, like living cells divide and then they multiply. Now let's have a look at the major differences between the prokaryotic cells and the eukaryotic cells. First, let's talk about the prokaryotic cells. So prokaryotic cells are characterized by the single membrane system. Their cell wall is surrounded by plasma membrane except in case of mycoplasma and the pleuronumina-like organisms. And their cell membrane bears respiratory enzymes. It has a circular DNA which is devoid of histone proteins. The cytoplasm lacks all organelles, whether it's endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, the mitochondria, all are absent in prokaryotic cells. Ribosomes are 70S type, which lie free in the cytoplasm or they are joined to the plasma membrane. Cells are haploid in nature and the cell cycle has been seen to be very short. Nucleolus is absent. Examples include the bacteria, cyanobacteria or the blue-green alga, mycoplasma, and many others. If we talk about the eukaryotic cells, they are characterized by the presence of double membrane system. The cell wall surrounds the plasma membrane in some protists, most of the fungi, and all plants. So only the animal cells lack the cell wall. Cell membrane lacks the respiratory enzymes that we saw in case of prokaryotic cells, and linear DNA is present, and it is present with the histone proteins. And cytoplasm contains the organelles, whether it's endoplasmic reticulum, the mitochondria, the Golgi apparatus, the lysosomes, centrosomes, microfilaments, intermediate fibers, all are present in case of eukaryotic cells. Also, the ribosomes are 80S in type and they may lie free or they are bound to the endoplasmic reticulum and the nuclear envelope. Cells are typically diploid in nature and the cell cycle has been seen to be very long. One or more nuclei occur within the nucleus. And examples include the alga, the protists, the fungi, plants, and animals. So as you can see on your respective screens, I have shown the developmental process of a multicellular organism like a human being. As you can see, when the cells fuse together and lead to the formation of a zygote after successful fertilization has taken place, in the zygote, the cells start dividing. Ultimately, it leads to the formation of an embryo after implantation and then the fetus. And various types of tissues, organs, and organ systems are established in fetus, which ultimately lead to the formation of a complex organism like a human being. So what I basically wanted to convey from this slide is that multicellular organisms are much more complex as compared to unicellular organisms because all the functions are restricted to only one cell. They are performed by only a single cell like a bacteria or a yeast, while as when many cells join together, they lead to the formation of various types of tissues, and various tissues join together to form a particular organ, then the organ systems are formed. So it's a much more complex system as compared to unicellular organisms. Now let's have a look at the basic differences between the animal cells and the plant cells, both of which are eukaryotic in nature. If we first talk about the plant cells, they are larger than animal cells. They are characterized by the presence of thick, rigid dead cell wall, which is present in addition to the normal plasma membrane. Plastids are present in case of plant cells. Many Golgi complexes are scattered in the cytoplasm. Large sized vacuoles have been seen in case of plant cells. Fewer in number, usually one, and nucleus is pushed to one side by the central vacuole. If we now have a look at the animal cells, they are smaller in size, they have a thin flexible plasma membrane. Plastids are absent in case of animal cells. Single Golgi apparatus has been seen near the nucleus. Many small sized vacuoles are present in case of animal cells, and nucleus is present near the center of the cell.